Hey there, toy collector friends and Marvel fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-travelling toy collector, and this is Captain America as he appeared in Marvel's Avengers Assemble, and it's part of the Marvel movie figurine collection. It's actually item number 2, and it came together with the Iron Man figurine that you may have already seen elsewhere on my channel. It's currently being reissued by Fanhome, that's F-A-N-H-O-M-E, fanhome.com, who have, it seems, picked up the stock from Eagle Moss and Hero Collector, who were originally releasing these figures. Now, I'm not a big collector of figurines in terms of humanoid-looking figurines, because I'm often very critical of the features and the feature capture, etc., of individuals such as this one. But I have to say, I have been quite pleasantly surprised, certainly far more than I was expecting to be, by the quality of this Marvel movie figurine collection. So that's why I'm not just sort of showing you these and then rubbishing them. Now, I have to draw a distinction here, and I will probably mention this again a little later in this video. That distinction being that I'm viewing these, from my perspective, as a representative of the Marvel universe, not necessarily the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is how, in my head, I'm able to go, and I don't think they're that bad in terms of visual representation. I mention that because if we go down the route of saying, well, actually, this is it should be a representation of Chris Evans' interpretation of Captain America and Steve Rogers, then I am forced to consider whether or not this face sculpt and paint is representative of Chris Evans. Now, my personal view on this is not so much, and I'll get the figure in hand in a moment so you can have a really closer, we can have a closer look at it. But if we were saying, well, this is just a physical statue representation of the comics Captain America, as he appeared in sort of the Avengers comic adaptation, even if you like, of the Marvel movie, then I think this is a really good figure. I really like this figure. I like that it's quite sturdy. I like the size, to be honest. I always imagine that these figurines are going to be quite small and irritating. I don't know why I think that, but it's what I tend to think. But this is, you know, it's actually quite robust, and I really like the detail. So I'm going to zoom in a bit before I go. I pick it up and go in hand. But I do think that, particularly around the costume, I love those sort of the shoulder designs there, the inlaid silver. The overall accuracy around the belt, the pouches, the shield, even down to the sort of the stripes, the striping and the piping on the trousers, and the quality of the design on those boot buckles. You know, there's a lot there. And then you can also see the Marvel Avengers stand that the figures are sculpted into. So, you know, as a figurine in its own right, I think this is a really good piece. And as I say, let's get it in hand and you can see it a bit more in detail. So there's the face sculpt. Now, I'm not going to say it's completely alien in terms of looking like Chris Evans, because I think you can see that it is very strongly based on Chris Evans. But that said, if I looked at this head sculpt without the context of the suit, would I know it was Chris Evans? Not necessarily. So, yeah, and I had a similar issue with the Iron Man, the Tony Stark figurine in the previous video. I think they are suggestive of the character and the actor who's become sort of synonymous with those parts, but I don't think the figurine in and of itself is necessarily the most accurate representation of that actor's likeness. You know, it's not an action figure where those sort of scans have been deployed in making that face sculpt. But again, do I know who it is? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. It's not completely and utterly off beam, and that's why I say that if you take it as Captain America, as Steve Rogers, in the suit that he was wearing in Avengers Assemble, then yes, this absolutely works. It captures the likeness of the character really, really well, and I think it does an excellent job of capturing the likeness of the figure. And what I think is really good here, we've got a reverse side. We've got detailing on the reverse side of the shield, so you can see the handle straps there. So I've got enough lighting on it. You can see the handle straps there, so that shield is well and truly not going anywhere, and it's nicely silver, pulled out in silver. And, a lot of companies wouldn't bother doing the reverse of the shield. It would just be sort of a blank dead space because it isn't the focal point of the presentation. But what I think is really nice here, and something that I do think in the majority of cases old Eagle Moss and Hero Collector collections did do, was their valiant attempts to capture an awful lot of high quality detail. So I think on that front it works really, really well. Again, there's America's trousers. So we can see here the back of the shield. Again, you can see much more of that detailing pulled out from this angle. You can see the back of the uniform, and I think, again, and to be fair, if I was going to be really, really sort of childish about it, from this angle you could go, oh, I think that's going to be a model of Chris Evans. It looks like Chris Evans from the back. I mean, I'm being slightly facetious, but it has the shades of Chris Evans' portrayal, but I just don't think they've got the face sculpt to the point where I would look at that and go, it's Chris Evans. You may disagree with me, and of course that's entirely up to you. Your opinion is perfectly valid. That's the beauty of it being an opinion. We're all entitled to one, and quite right too. But just for me, they're slightly not quite sort of a Happy Valley scenario. I know what they're going for, but for me it doesn't quite chime. But that doesn't take away the quality of the sculpt or the presentation. We do have on the reverse of the stand Captain America, Marvel, so we know it's a licensed product, and we are helpfully guided to how best to present the figure, because again, if you look down here, you can see that the Marvel insignia and the A should be facing front, which tells us that this is the orientation that you want your Captain America figure to be in when presenting it. It does also come with the Marvel Movie Collection magazine. Let me move that out a bit, with a picture of Chris Evans on the front. I'm not going to go into huge details with the magazine, as if you want to have a look at what's inside it, by all means pick up a copy for yourself. But it is packed with lots of really cool information, some great behind the scenes stuff, which you're probably aware of anyway. But there's an awful lot of Marvel movie trivia, history of the characters, on-screen development. There's a lot of stuff. It isn't just a couple of stock photos. I mean, there are stock photos, but it isn't just a couple of stock photos and we're done. I'll put that behind there. Excuse me. But so I do think, I think really and truly, as figurines go, this collection is shaping up to be a really nice one. I think my advice to anyone collecting any sort of Hero Collector, or now Fanhome, or whichever outlet you're getting these from, is to be mindful that they're suggestive and evocative of the character. I would not throw my lot in with it being 100% accurate to the face sculpt of the characters. I have the same. Anyone that's seen any of my other sort of Doctor Who figurine collection videos will be aware that one of the reasons I don't collect the Doctor Who figurines is because so many of them are humanoid, and I haven't been super impressed with the quality of the face sculpts, which is not me wishing to be badmouth it, because it is what it is. But whereas you've got a comic universe that is diverse with many different artists representing the characters, and this to me is another representation of those characters, which is great. Certain live action only sort of characterizations, such as a TV series which is basing its figure on how it appeared, if it has a human face to make it recognizable, and you don't look like that human face, and you don't have a lot of extended comic book media to help you know what that person or that character should look like, then for me it needs to look like the person that it is representing. Which is why I've always maintained that they're non-human figurines, such as the Cybermen or the Daleks or the TARDIS consoles, for example, have been, you know, on the overall really, really good. And I'm really, really impressed and really, really pleased with them. But yeah, figurines themselves, I tend to steer away from. But this has been an absolute pleasant surprise. So I really, really feel that, you know, in order to bring balance to any comments that I may make about such things, it is important to recognise where there is a higher quality than perhaps my experience has previously led me to expect, and that is the case with the Marvel movie collection. I haven't signed up for the rest. As I say, these were gifted to me in the first instance, just to sort of show me the extent of the quality that was available. But yeah, I don't as of yet have a commitment to get the rest. But if you are interested, then as I mentioned, go to fanhome.com and you'll be able to subscribe, I have no doubt. And there's a few sort of subscriber benefits along the way, because that tends to be the way these things work. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you found it interesting to have an up-close and a personal, if you like, look at this figure, and indeed the Iron Man figure that went before it. And hopefully it helps you make a decision as to whether this is something you would like to have on your shelf in your collection. And if it is, great. If it isn't, also great, because, you know, choice is important, and the more information you have, the more choice you can make. So hopefully this has helped you with that. And if that is the case, please do hit the like button. It really helps me in return. And additionally, why not subscribe to the channel and even turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I'll leave that one with you to decide. You know what the right thing to do is. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. You've been a fantastic audience for the last 13-14 minutes. I've been the time-travelling toy collector, and this has been Captain America from Marvel's Avengers Assemble, the Marvel movie collection figurine series, being issued by Fanhome, but originally produced by Eagle Moss and Hero Collector. I look forward very, very much to seeing you in a future video. Bye-bye for now.